everyone and welcome back to another episode of Rift News, the show that brings you everything new about League of Legends right under your nose. At this point I am done trying to guess when you're done with your finals. I try to be sympathetic, but I can't do much more. What I can do, however, is tell you what is new. So let's get on it. 2 days ago, Riot surprised us with a massive drop of Darkin Lore. We have a new bio for Aatrox, Varus got minor changes to keep the facts straight, there is a short story called Cage that describes Aatrox's imprisonment. There is also a short story called The Legend of the Darkin, which talks about what the Darkin really are. And finally there is a story by Graham McNeil, Twilight of the Gods. And if you like Darkin, that's going to be a story for you. If you want to go in chronological order, start with Twilight of the Gods, followed by Legend of the Darkin, then Aatrox, and then the short story Cage. Thankfully all the lore was released right as we started our stream, and it was the first time I read a story live. If you want, you can go to our second channel and see it there. Also, it is scary how close we got with our theory if you really think about what has happened there. There are minor changes that might make you think that the theory is wrong, but it's really not. I don't want to spoil the story though, so we'll talk about that another time. In fact, I already have another video ready to be released, so the Darkin story will come at the beginning of next week. I will also try to change the format we use for covering lore. Instead of reading the stories word for word, I will use my own words every now and then to describe what's happening. It's because I know that a lot of you guys also aren't native English speakers, so if I simplify it a little bit, it will be better for everyone. Also, sometimes you might just miss a crucial point, so this way I will have the chance to describe those as well. So to give you my early review, these stories are amazing because they are heavily based on logic. These stories were meant to explain exactly what is happening with the Darkin, where they came from and what they have done. And all of this was delivered while Riot gave us some new mysteries to think about. So if you love the Darkin, the Shuriman Ascended and the Void, you will love this as well. But let's now go to the in-game stuff, and let's start with PvE. Last time I told you guys that Riot is working on improving the in-game cursor, and that they are looking for feedback. Well, since then, Riot pushed the cursor into a more finalized state. This new version tackles all my previous points. It now glows brightly when it's interacting, meaning when pointing at an ally, the blue crystal will be more visible. And when trying to click on an enemy, the red sword is now more clear. Just for comparison, here's the previous version as well, so you can see how much of an improvement it is. The only thing I don't like is how the highlight on the sword dampens the red light. I feel like it might just blend in during a teamfight, and then you might lose the vision of your cursor and then you start madly swinging your mouse because you don't know where it is. We have all done it. Still, I like this new version a lot more. PvE also revealed the splash art and the limited banner for Darkstar Cho'Gath. Yet again pushing this skin to my top 5 favorite skins. And the same limited banners were also added to God King Darius and God King Garen, the 2 legendary skins about which we talked about last time. But what has changed is that we now have a lot more information about the Versus event. In fact, the chances are that this video will be released on the same day this event goes live. So why don't we have a look at it? First of all, the event got its own trailer. It's a short in-game cinematic that explains the tiny story behind it. What's so special about it is that Riot made special models for the soldiers of Demacia and Noxus. They seem to have unique animations and they behave far too real to be a simple prop. So I wonder if in the future we will see these soldiers in an in-game event. Right now we actually don't know if they appear in-game, for example as minions. I guess that will be revealed when it goes live. In my opinion, they look far too big to be minions. There were 19 new icons added into the game files. These are rewards you can get from missions. You may also notice that all of these icons are strictly themed around Garen or Darius. That's because just like it was with the Yasuo vs Riven event, you will have to choose a side. And just like it was last time, your missions will contribute to that side's points. And at the end, there will be a winner and everyone will get a special icon based on who the winner is. If you choose the winning side, you will also get some bonus blue essence on top of it. So don't worry. You don't have to choose who you think will win. Choose who you like more. You won't miss out on anything anyway. So let's have a look at what else the event brings in. The statues of Garen and Darius can now be found in-game. these will stay up for the duration of the event. There is also a new loading screen featuring the lion and the wolf. When it comes to the loot from this event, keep in mind that you'll be able to buy some of it by grinding out the missions. The loot comes in the form of either lion orbs or wolf orbs. Both cost 80 tokens or 250 RP. The orbs contain one random skin shard, 5.4% chance for a gemstone, 0.06% chance for a gemstone skin, and the bag has returned. But it is not as good as the birdie bag. This versus bag will contain 5 skin shards for champions from the same faction, and it only has 3.5% chance to drop. So, what's the difference between the wolf orb and the lion orb? Well, on top of all the other drops, the lion orb drops orange essence, with a small chance for it to drop even more orange essence, but at least some orange essence seems to be guaranteed to drop. On the other hand, the wolf orbs have 12.5% chance to drop an extra skin shard, instead of the guaranteed orange essence. So it all comes to this. If you are saving orange essence because you have a skin shard that you want to upgrade, buy the lion orbs. If you're in for a game of luck and you are just hunting down gemstones or rare skins, buy the wolf orbs. But now, let's have a look at the missions. When you choose a side, you will get two kinds of missions: daily missions and progression missions. Daily missions will offer you a different challenge every day. For Garen, this may vary from winning a game of ARAM to being on a team that destroys the first tower. For Darius, the missions are identical, they just happen on different days. So in this regard, nothing really changes. But the progression missions are slightly different. Unlike the daily missions, these will stay until you complete them. And while both sides have missions with the same objectives, but only at different points of the path. For example, you can see that Garen has to place 2 control wards during mission 7, and Darius has to do it during mission 2. You can see that the missions get more difficult the further they are, even if they have the same objective. For example, in this mission, Darius only has to win 2 games with 2 control wards because it is an early mission. But Garen has to win 3 games with 2 control wards because it is later on. One could argue that this may affect the balance of this war. If one side gets missions that are easier early on, that side will complete more missions overall. So I wonder if this translates into the victorious side. Either way, after the versus event and after a victor is chosen, there will be one last mission that you'll have to complete by July the 22nd. And if you do, you will get the victor's icon. These final missions seems to be just win a game. So nothing too epic. But I should also mention the calculations. You'll be able to complete a mission every day, but these missions only grant you 5 tokens. So over the 12 days, you can get up to 60 tokens from the daily missions alone. But most of your tokens will come from the progression missions. They grant you either 10 or 20 tokens depending on the difficulty. And all of them will grant you a maximum of 140 tokens. So together, over the duration of this event, you can get up to 200 free tokens. Enough to get you 2 orbs. Or you can use them to craft one of the following items: a God King Darius or Garen border for 150 tokens, assuming you have the skin, or 2 sets of 2 icons, each for 40 tokens. Or a random champion shard, not a permanent champion, just a shard for 40 tokens. Or a key fragment for 15 tokens, again, not a full key, just a fragment. Or 10 blue essence for 1 token. So, let's have a look at something more uplifting. All random Earth will be up during the entire event. This is probably the best version of Earth you can get. Besides this event, we also know that the new tutorial is coming. And Riot also added 5 new icons for each of the tutorial champions into the game. We can assume that this will be a reward for completing the tutorial. The last in-game change worth mentioning is Aatrox's updated textures. Remember when I mentioned that the new Aatrox doesn't really have the same colors as he does in his splash art? Well, Riot addressed it the best they could. They gave Aatrox new textures. They are much sharper, with more radiant colors and even more detail. He definitely looks much better now. And now let's have a look at the new ARAM changes. Remember when Riot experimented with ARAM during Pyke's event? They wanted to see what kind of changes would make ARAM a healthier game mode. And since that event is now over, Riot Popcorner and Riot Onion came back with the results. It arrived in a form of a post called ARAM Changes Roundup. So, the two things that will definitely stay are the bench, meaning that if you reroll a champion, anyone else will be able to pick it up, and the larger free-to-play pool. Apparently, this feature managed to drop Q dodge rates by about a half, which is incredible, and it makes sense. Players get to pick from more champions, so they are more likely to find something they don't mind playing. On top of that, Riot also found out that this feature doesn't affect win rates, meaning that even if you trade around a lot and try to get a powerful team, nothing really changes. It is all random after all. Another thing that will stay are all the quality of life changes. Stuff like surrender times, base gates and altered experience. Especially the faster XP gain at the start makes the game a bit faster, which in the end turns out to be about 20 seconds. So it's not massive really. Also, teams that are snowballing now tend to be about 2% even snowballier, so now it's 2% harder to come back. Another thing that stays is the Dark Harvest nerf. This keystone will stay powerful, but it will no longer be the most powerful option for everyone. And the last thing that stays are the Aoe Relics. This doesn't surprise me. These relics were just a win-win scenario for everyone. You can't steal them from anyone, so people won't go mad, and it creates more fighting opportunities. It's almost like giving ARAM a tiny objective to fight for. The only change is that the area of healing will get smaller, so it will be more dangerous to fight for it. The respawn timers will also stay in the tabs menu. But that's really everything that stays. So now let's have a look at what goes away. First of all, the new items are gone. They were introduced to give assassins more power. Those were items that let you dive in while safely teleporting back to the starting point after your burst. But the final results showed something different. While these items did help assassins a little bit, and mage assassins like Diana and Katarina a bit more, mid-range mages like Malzahar and Victor also got a solid bump in their win rates. Thus, the new items will go for now. Another thing that is going is the new Butcher's Bridge. Riot knows the community really likes the map, so they are looking into ways to bring it back another time. And the last thing that goes away is Warmock's removal, which means it doesn't go away, it actually comes back. Warmox was always a bit problematic in ARAM. It's an item that gets rid of the entire let's not heal until you die mechanic. However, Warmox was one of the items that countered the strongest ARAM strategy, which is Poke. And without Warmock, Poke mages did indeed spike in win rates. So, Warmox will return. But that's it for this episode of Rift News. As a reminder, I am now moving to a new place, so I'm sorry if the videos become a little bit more inconsistent. I am now working on the Darkin Lore, so give me a little bit of time. But that's it for this video. So if you enjoyed it, feel free to like the video and subscribe for more lore and news. If you'd like to check our social media, Twitch, merch and P.O.Box will be in the description. Of course, massive shout out to our patrons for going the extra mile, you guys are amazing. And with that, thank you so much for being here and for your support, I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you, come again. Does anyone ever actually watch the outros? Does anyone actually sit here and watch this for no reason at all? Why do I even put it here? Will it make someone click a link? I don't think so. Let's see. I'll see you next time.